Welcome to Your Inspired Journey. I'm Carla Andrews, and I have the pleasure of being here with Jamal Maxsam. He is a leadership success coach who really helps organizations, team members, and leaders in really getting to the next level in their vision, their purpose, and finding out more about themselves, their true, authentic selves. He helps you with different ways of how you can build your team, how you can build your business, but most importantly, how to build you. Welcome to the platform. How are you, Jamal?
I'm doing great. Thank you for allowing me to be on.
It's a pleasure because I know we've talked for just for a brief moment, but I can already tell you're going to be dropping those, wisdom, those those golden nuggets. So it's fantastic. It's always a pleasure, especially the word leadership. There is not enough stress a lot of times in how we lead our lives. A lot
Yes.
of times we're living by default, and if we find some leadership principles to lead our lives, what a difference that can make.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was just thinking that exact same thing this morning, actually, because leadership sometimes is viewed as not as a necessity, but more as a luxury. A lot of people will say, oh, yeah, leadership training, that's good. Leadership book, leadership podcast, that's great. But they don't really see it as essential as it really is, because
Hmm.
leadership is in every aspect of what you do, no matter where you are. You have to know how to connect and influence people to accomplish the vision. And so, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in corporate working for someone else at the moment, whether you're leading a church or a nonprofit, you still have to have leadership skills. It doesn't just happen automatically. You get put in a position that all of a sudden people want to follow you. It just doesn't happen that way. And so I think it's essential that we view leadership as essential, as an essential element to our personal and our professional growth.
And it's interesting, a lot of time the word that's going around now is the essential worker. A leader
Mhm.
is an essential worker, isn't he? Or she?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say more essential than anything. Now, of course, our doctors and nurses and our teachers, God bless them, are definitely essential. But imagine how essential it is, the leader that's leading those teams. Without leadership, the people wouldn't really have a cohesive way of responding to the crisis they're facing, or have a cohesive way of being proactive versus getting out of the responsive way. And so leadership is extremely essential. We're essential workers during the pandemic and essential outside of a pandemic. It never stops.
And I loved how you mentioned the word champion, right? It
Yes.
is how to become a champion because imagine a championship without a leader.
Oh
Uh,
gosh. Yes.
send a basketball team on the court or a football team on the court and not have a leader. I would love to see what the result of that would be.
Right,
So it's always
exactly.
great to have that person, right, from the outside sometimes, and working from the sidelines in a sense
Hmm.
to lead
Yeah.
the team.
Yes, calling the plays, the person who sees the perspective of not just what the team is doing, especially from a football standpoint, because the coaches on the and they're watching not just what their team is doing, but they're watching the movement of the other team so they can strategically make decisions to overcome the other team. And in football, that coach has someone who's sitting at a higher vantage point who can see the entire field. And so they have someone who sees it from another perspective as well, giving them information.
Mhm.
So it's very essential. You can't win without a coach or a leader, because someone has to help manage and organize in a succinct way the work that's being done. And then I like how you referred to the champion aspect, because most people like to call themselves champions and winners and I'm triumphant and all these other things, which are great. But how many champions do you know that has never had to contend or overcome anything? You can't say
Exactly.
you are a champion if you never had to compete, you never had to overcome, and you never had to win. And so by nature of being a leader, it's like competing. You have to overcome, you have to win over some things, you have to win over things within yourself, you have to help your team learn how to win, and you have to be able to deal with opposition as a normal part of the process without it taking you out mentally. That's why I say you have to lead your business like a champion, because it's a mental and physical, I don't want to say game, but
Exactly.
mental and physical aspect that you have to engage in. And it's a mindset.
It's and that mind, right? Is
Yeah.
what is holding rent in your mind? Because a lot of times,
Hmm.
that makes a difference between, and it's not even the fact that a person, let's say a person is a failure, but if you win at something or you fail at something, the
Right.
difference can be the mindset.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's all in how you view it, because people view, you have to view winning and you have to view failure a certain way. Winning is getting the results you wanted. Okay, great. Now, when you didn't get the results you want, if you allow that to take you out and to affect your confidence and to affect, just your overall disposition, it can then become a
Hmm.
loss. For me,
Yes.
I help people see it. Okay, if you didn't get the outcome that you wanted, look at the present outcome that you have. What advantages are there to that outcome? And what did you learn from that situation? And where did it take you? Because
Hmm.
sometimes the results you didn't want, and this happened to me personally, the results I didn't want end up propelling me to another place that was
Hmm.
better than the place I was in,
Isn't
and
that
turned
something?
out, yeah, and then turned out to give me better results than the results I thought I wanted at the time. So as a leader, you have to say, okay, I pressed, I pushed, I did the right things, I made the best decision possible. Now, this outcome might not have been exactly what I wanted, but how can I make this work for my good? How can I make this work for my advantage? How can I make this better? How
Lessons.
how
Yeah.
can this negative situation give me learning, give me material, not only to
Hmm.
help myself grow, but to help other people grow? And how can I make this negative situation open up another platform for me to help other people?
I'm telling you, this is gonna be good. But you know what? I know people are like, who is Jamal Maxim? You gotta give us a background because it's massively rich, and we just need to let people know exactly what it is that you've done in
Yeah.
building to this space where you're able to speak with leaders, sit with leaders, and help lead the leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I started out, I guess I'll go back. When I was 16, I started at, well, prior to 16, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurship was always in my blood. My grandmother was the first African American woman to do real estate in the city I grew up in called Pontiac. And my mother followed in those footsteps. And I didn't want to do the real estate thing because I was burnt out from it, from watching them. But I started my own business as I was 15, really with a driver's
Mm.
permit. And I had a pickup truck and some lawn equipment. It was different from neighborhood kids cutting grass. I wanted to take it to the next level. I was all over the city, cutting grass, and had landscaping and doing all kind of things. And then under the peer pressure of wanting to be with friends in high school, I gave up my business and
Whoa.
went to work for someone else. But that gave me the opportunity of leadership,
Mm.
because at the age of 16, I'm working at a Burger King restaurant, out just going there to work after school initially because my friends worked there, and then they quit, but I stayed, and I ended up becoming a manager at 16. So I'm one of the managers leading not only my peers but adults at the age of 16. And so did that for a while, you know, um, went to school, went for business because I knew my ultimate destiny was to own my own business, and got into corporate after that. Didn't really like the setting I was in. It was too routine, too dry. It just, I didn't feel the passion in it. And so went from that to education. because I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
make a difference. I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to empower people. I wanted to help people really be able to think. And so went into education, became a teacher, taught for many years. Um, and then I just had that yearning, that urge.
The
Yeah, it
urge.
was it was like I need to make more of an impact. Now, as a teacher, I saw every student in the building because I taught technology at a K-8
Mm.
at a K-8 charter school. So I was able to impact every school in the building. And at that time, I was still taking on leadership responsibilities. I became the team leader, of my team of teachers. I was in charge of after school tutoring, in charge of summer school, and, all of that. But I still felt this pull to increase my impact. It's like, you ever ate something, been out to dinner, you ate something and it was real
Mm-hmm.
good, but you was like, but you still weren't satisfied, even though it
You,
was
you
good.
you wanted more. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it was like. It was like I wanted more, I needed to do more. And it wasn't from a selfish standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
like I was trying to promote myself. I just saw the
You want to
need.
make an impact.
Yeah, I just saw the need and the desire to be able to help more people. I wanted to help, I wanted to have that impact to help make things better for the students we were serving. And so went into administration, became a principal, and began to lead schools of various sizes, help turned around some schools, help lead some schools. My first school I led, when you jump out the gate, you think, oh, I'm ready. I had lots of hard lessons at that point, realizing I wasn't as ready as I thought.
Mm.
Also, the climate and culture of the building I stepped into wasn't as ready as they thought as well. So you had someone who wasn't as prepared as they thought, because you go to school, you get your degree, and you think, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
totally prepared. And then when you get the reality of it, it's like,
Oh,
none of this was in
exactly.
the textbook.
In the book. Exactly,
I'm
exactly.
like, they must have missed a few courses on some stuff. And
But
so,
it's I tell you, it's like what you experience, there's a saying that once you taste significance, success is not
yes,
enough. And
absolutely.
so that's what you wanted to make an impact that of besides just you having the success, you wanted to see others around you be
Be
just as
successful.
successful or if not more. So that's
Absolutely.
significance. That's a
Be-
significant next step.
yes, absolutely. And I like the way you say that tasting that significance, because for me, it was more than being able to provide for my family, having a good job and, do my work and come home. It was about how I wanted other people to be successful. And mainly, that drive mainly came from looking at the
Hmm.
students. I wanted them to have the kind of life that they deserve and that they were entitled to have. I feel like everyone is entitled to live a high quality of life. I believe nobody
That's
should be
it. That's
poor,
it.
nobody should be in lack, nobody should want, nobody should say, I'm never going here or I'm never going there. If there's somewhere, something you want to, someplace you want to go, something, some type of lifestyle you want to live, you have a right to live it. And
Hmm.
so I looked at the students and was like, they deserve to have the kind of life they want. And education is one of those keys. And so
Yes.
I just kept going to increase the impact for them. That was really my motivator. And and I just kept going. And when I stepped into becoming a principal, like I said, I thought had been prepared, because I had been studying leadership since
Hmm.
I was 16, been in various leadership positions, and I had an advantage, because I had a business degree as well as an educational leadership degree, as
Hmm.
well as a
So
teaching
you
degree.
had.
So because there were things in the preparation program for a school principal that should have been expounded on. And I only knew that because I had gone to school for 4 years for business management. So, Whereas they gave me 2 classes as a principal for in human resources, I had a whole year's worth of stuff. And so I felt like I had a little bit of an edge, and I noticed the gaps in training, but figured, I was good. But I wasn't as prepared as I thought. And then I stepped into an environment that wanted a principal, needed a principal, but that environment wasn't as prepared as they thought as well. Because that environment wasn't, at the time, wasn't conducive to receive a